Gordon Matta-Clark is an artist who primarily worked in the 1970s in New York City. He went to Cornell where he studied architecture, but rather than using that degree to become an architect, he instead moved to Soho in 1969 and began collaborating with other artists who were working in the downtown art scene at that point. I am the curator of the exhibition, but I am also the co-director of the Gordon Matta-Clark estate. The other director is my mother, Jane Crawford, who is Gordon Matta-Clark's widow. I thought, maybe I could create an exhibition by highlighting some of these pieces that have always just been very close to my heart and sort of figure out, well, what were they really about? What did they mean to Gordon? And, and how did they relate to his overall practice? I wanted to open the show with this piece, Conical Intersect. This is an architectural cutting that Gordon did in Paris, France. He was invited to basically do this cutting intervention with two buildings that were at the site where they were building the Centre Pompidou. He was at that time quite inspired by a piece by Anthony McCall called Line Describing a Cone. Normally with film works, you look at what the projected image is. McCall was more interested in the projection itself. Gordon just was fascinated by this. In Conical Intersect, he cut a cone shape going from the top of one of the buildings down through an opening. So it's almost as if you could sit in the new structure and look down onto the Paris street. He took images of the cutting while it was in process and after it was done, and he would create works like these, which are Cibachromes, that he made by actually cutting and taping the negatives of both still film and film that he took that went to create the film Conical Intersect. He would tape them together to show sort of the different angles or perspectives or a time lapse of the cutting occurring. Very, very few photographers would actually touch the negative, let alone cut it and tape it and really manipulate it as a material in and of itself. In 1976, Gordon became interested in exploring the underground. Being in New York City, he was wondering, well, what is beneath my feet right now? He actually would get friends of his to go down with him underground in different spots in New York City. He would take Super 8 footage and then he would record sound, get that processed and show it. He decided to do a similar thing where he would make a film of underground Paris, and he went to a number of places beneath Paris, including the catacombs, underneath the Opera House in Paris, underneath Les Halles again, and to an underground winery. He took the images from the film and made these really beautiful photo scrolls. These are incredibly unique pieces. They were all one of a kind, and what he would do is actually have a scroll of a photo paper in the darkroom, unroll a bit, expose it, roll that bit back up, unroll a bit more and expose it. So collaging these images right onto the paper. And the effect that he was able to get was to show in this aesthetically beautiful way the layers of the city. When you look at a lot of his architectural interventions in the cutting, they often happen in buildings that are now obsolete. They have lost their use. Gordon, rebelled against the notion that when something is no longer functioning as you want it, you just tear it all down and start over. And so a lot of his projects were about what are new ways that we can take our obsolete architecture and transform them and evolve them into something else.